You open the timeline, make a few cuts, and somehow end up doom scrolling for 2 hours. And videos that should take a day end up taking an entire week to edit, delaying uploads, draining creativity, and burning you out. In this video, I'll show you 5 evidence-based strategies I've learned over 10 years of editing videos that rewire your brain to crave creation over consumption and make editing feel weirdly addictive instead of mentally exhausting. Alright, so let's start with strategy number 1. Fix your dopamine baseline. The reason editing feels boring isn't because editing is boring. It's because your brain is comparing the timeline to literal dopamine cheat codes. You scroll TikTok and get a dopamine hit with every swipe. Eat sugar and get an instant taste of heaven. But with editing, you don't open the timeline and instantly get a reward. You usually get problems like, how do I make this audio sound better? Or why did Premiere Pro just crash again? If you've been training your brain to expect rewards with no effort, editing actually feels painful by comparison. So let's fix this. Take your phone and put it in a different room while you're editing. That's the most effective way I've found to avoid quick dopamine hits. And if that's not possible, make your phone less addictive. Turn your screen to grayscale. It sounds stupid, but it works. Or go as far as deleting TikTok or Instagram so those algorithms can't decide how to waste your time. When your dopamine baseline is calm, your brain is much more sensitive to the little rewards that come from real progress, like making a visual or adding the perfect sound effect. But beyond dopamine, there's something even more important: actually building the habit of editing videos. And whether you're just starting out or have years of experience, staying consistent can be surprisingly hard. So how do you make an inherently challenging skill like video editing into a habit? Well, a few years ago, I read Atomic Habits by James Clear. And one idea stuck with me. Make habits easy by reducing friction. If you're editing, friction usually shows up before you even make the first cut. You struggle to open your project because you know you have 20 hours of editing ahead of you. And you need to deal with unorganized footage, messy timelines, and if you work with clients, endless revisions. But how would you feel if you always had organized footage and files? You keep your timelines clean, maybe even color-coded. You use presets that cut editing from 20 hours to 12 hours, and have an agreement with your client or yourself that you only do revisions if absolutely necessary. You're just going to feel more excited to work on projects. So figure out and remove every tiny piece of friction between you and starting an edit. If you struggle to open your project in the morning, leave your timeline open, organized, and prepped the night before, so you start with momentum the next day. If you're learning to edit faster but always forget your keyboard shortcuts, then write them down and stick them to your monitor so that doesn't stop you from starting. Or you can use a laptop so you can edit from anywhere, not just your workstation. So remove enough friction that editing becomes the easiest choice and not the obstacle. Once you've set your dopamine baseline and removed friction, your brain is finally ready for the next strategy, the cue routine reward system. In a famous experiment, Ivan Pavlov discovered that dogs could be trained to salivate whenever they hear a bell. The trick was, for a few days that bell had been repeatedly paired with giving the dogs food. At first, the bell meant nothing. But over time, the dog's brains learned bell equals food. Eventually, they started salivating from the sound alone, even when no food was given. And this idea works on humans too. If you always eat dinner while watching YouTube, then opening YouTube may trigger cravings, even if you're not hungry. For me, I always make a cup of iced coffee as my cue that it's time to start editing. Because not only does it trigger my brain to signal that it's time to work, but it also provides a reward, which is the taste, the caffeine hit, and the cozy feeling attached to the ritual. But it doesn't have to be coffee. You can use anything as long as it's enjoyable, repeatable, and ideally only connected to video editing. Other things that I do are turn on a vibey light and put on noise-canceling headphones. But it's not about the object, it's all about the association. This is how you begin to develop a healthy addiction to video editing. But let's take this healthy addiction one step further with strategy number 4, make progress impossible to ignore. Most people treat editing an entire video like one massive task. And when your progress isn't visible, your brain assumes nothing is happening even when you're slowly chipping away at the timeline. So the goal here is simple. Turn editing into a game by making progress impossible to miss. One way to do that is by breaking your edit into clear stages. Instead of one timeline, you might have different sequences for different things. So you might have one for a rough cut, maybe a color grading pass, a B-roll or visuals pass, sound design, and then the final cut. And every time you move to the next sequence, it's a level up. And maybe you even reward yourself with something small at every level. Another way is to make progress visible inside the timeline itself. Maybe you color code clips once they're locked, or lock layers when you're done with them. Drop markers on sections that are finished. After doing this, when you look at the timeline, you can see how far you've actually come. And it further reinforces progress for your video editing in your brain. If you want, you can zoom out even further. Maybe you track each project in something like a dashboard, where you can see which stage each video you're editing is in. Rough cut, revisions, uploaded, and that turns editing into a system of completed tasks instead of a guessing game. And my biggest advice for this strategy is just to ship your work. Build a portfolio that you can scroll through and see improving over time. Post your work to social media and get feedback and validation that your effort leads to something people actually care about and are noticing. Because when you get feedback from real people, it tells your brain that this matters. The reward shouldn't only be finishing the video, it should be watching the progress accumulate. When progress is invisible, editing feels endless. When progress is obvious, your brain wants to keep playing the game. The fifth strategy is to surround yourself with other editing addicts, or just people who have to edit videos often. When I started editing, I was taking a class in middle school and learning on group projects that I made with friends. So even though I was terrible, we all loved it, and that made me want to edit more. I would also see others making better videos than mine, and that would further motivate me to spend more time to make mine better. When I started going to the gym, I didn't go alone, I went with friends. And to be honest, if I had started alone, I probably wouldn't have stuck with it. Humans are social creatures, and so when you're doing anything completely alone, every problem often feels a lot heavier because you don't have anyone to share those issues with. So every mistake feels like a reason to give up. But when you're around other people who are also editing, effort just feels normal. That doesn't mean you need to collaborate on every project or any projects at all. Sometimes it's just editing silently on a call with others, or sharing your work for feedback, taking courses together, or being in communities where editing is just what people do. And that's also a big reason why I created a course-based editing community called Editor Kickstart, to give editors a space where learning, editing, and improving together feels normal instead of isolating. And if that sounds like something that might help you out, I will leave a link in the description below and you can check it out. When everyone around you edits, editing stops being a decision, and instead it becomes an identity. And once editing is part of who you are and who you're around, it becomes a lot harder to not edit. So once editing becomes addictive, the question becomes, how do you make sure your videos feel just as good to the viewer as it feels to you to make your videos? Because let's be honest, just because you're addicted to editing doesn't mean people are addicted to watching what you made. So if you want to learn the exact techniques that I use to make videos that viewers can't stop watching, you might want to check out this video right here.